Hi, everyone. Let's start. This is Charlie. I'm the co-founder and the principal of XCamp. Today is our number 54th education forum. We are happy to have three XCamp students to be here. You may know this year there were 7 XCamp students were selected into UCLA US camp. They just finished their about 10-day camp in Georgia today. They will return home. But for this talk, I like to say XCamp is not only for competitive coding. Learning coding will help our students in other routes too. Today we have Kayla. She started XCamp, then take robotics as one of her major activities in high school. And Jerry, he did 3 some interns with a startup company. And Albert, he did a research program and achieved good results. So today I asked them to join us to share their experience. For today, I will have a quick introduction about XCamp with a 2-minute video, and then we start our panelist introduction. Then we have the discussion with these 3 panelists and some of their parents. Finally, we have the QA session. Yeah, if you have questions, you may put into the chat, or you may open your mic to ask at the end of this panel discussion. First, let me play this 2-minute video about XCamp. It's built a couple months ago. We didn't include a new result from the UCLA US camp.
Computer science and artificial intelligence are tools that will change the future. XCamp Academy is a community dedicated to inspiring and cultivating the next generation of computer science and artificial intelligence talent. XCamp Academy was founded in August 2017 in Silicon Valley by 2 Google software engineers. The name XCamp was inspired by the variable X, which represents unlimited opportunities. XCamp's curriculum system and training methodology is inherited from Mr. Xianyou Xu, a Chinese diamond-level international gold medal coach. Our staff here in the US is mostly composed of senior software engineers from tech companies in Silicon Valley. In addition, we have strong support from international and domestic competition winners in our coach team. From beginner-level Python to classic C++ courses and competition honors courses, XCamp's curriculum is designed for students of all different levels. By participating in team-based competitions and facilitating frequent group study sessions, XCamp also fosters an environment of collaboration to build each student's confidence in their ability to code. As of now, more than 150 XCamp students have been qualified for UCLA Silver Division and above, including 25 in the Platinum Division and 5 were selected in the US camp, out of which 4 were fresh from the 2022 season. In 2022, is Stanford's renowned high school programming competition ProCo. XCamp students won first and second place in the Advanced Division. In other well-known Bay Area programming competitions, such as the Harker Programming Invitational and Teams Code, XCamp students have won both novice and advanced groups top places. Here at XCamp, we believe that children have unlimited potential and can change the world through coding.
Next, let's start the introduction to our panelists. Yeah, our Kayla, please have an introduction about yourself.
Yeah, so hi, my name is Kayla, and I recently graduated from Thomas Worthington High School, which is here, and I did 1 year of XCamp, and yeah, my biggest activity was being on my school's robotics team, where I'm a programming lead. And next year, I will be attending Carnegie Mellon University's School of Computer Science.
Nice. Here also we can see you led your team to the World Finals, if I see. Okay, great. I think later on you can give us more details about the experience. The second one, we have Jerry. Jerry?
Hello, everyone. My name is Jerry Wong. I recently graduated from Olentangy Orange High School in Central Ohio, and I was in X-Camp for 3 years. I plan to attend the University of Texas at Dallas on a full-ride scholarship.
Okay, great. Also, we know you will have like a Georgia Tech transfer guarantee, which means you might transfer to Georgia Tech, right?
Yeah, it's an option that's available to me.
Okay, great. Yeah, later on we can learn more about the experience too. Yeah. Next, we have Albert.
Hi, everyone. I'm Albert. I go to the Nueva School in San Mateo in the Bay Area. It's a private school, but I was also able to attend XCamp, and that really helped me kind of level up my programming ability and landed me some internships and research opportunities. So I've been doing research in brain-machine interfaces, which is kind of like what Neuralink does from Elon Musk, if you've heard of that company. And I'll be probably studying computational and neural systems at CalTech next year.
Okay, nice. Yeah, that's neuroscience. It's very exciting. Yeah, eager to learn your more details later. Okay, great. Here I have 5 questions. The first one is about your experience with XCamp. So it's when did you come to XCamp, and why you come to XCamp, and what did you learn in XCamp? How about let's start from Kayla first.
Yeah, so I decided to come to XCamp because I was recommended a program by a friend, and when I joined, I was like pretty interested in computer science, and I thought that XCamp was a really good opportunity to enhance my coding skills. So I really wanted to do that, and so XCamp really catered towards that. But even more, I wanted to also improve my problem solving and logical thinking skills, and especially with XCamp, where we do a lot of things to prepare for coding competitions. Definitely helped me become a better problem solver, and I was able to take on more difficult problems, and that's a skill that I was able to apply to other areas of computer science. And I withdrew from UCO contest after I got to the silver level, so I took the bronze exam.
Okay, nice. Yeah, may I know, when you make decision, continue on robotics, not coding, how did you make that decision at that time?
Yeah, so I did the UCO contest around the winter of my junior year of high school, and that was when robotics started picking up really quickly, and I guess I just found that really interesting. And I love coding. I love coding competitions, but there were just time conflicts there.
I see, I can see. Yeah, especially in this junior year high school, it's pretty, busy time. Okay, great. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Let's go to Jerry. What's your experience with XCamp?
I started participating in XCamp the summer in between my freshman and my sophomore years. I joined because I was interested in computer science and I wanted to learn more about it. And I also wanted like a organized learning structure with like teachers and other students I could talk to learn computer science, which is something that XCamp provides and does really well. I had like studied some computer science with myself, but it wasn't really going. But it wasn't going very. I didn't make that much progress because it's just really difficult to self-study when you're all by yourself. And XCamp does a really good job of providing with you like an organized structure to learn with other people and like teachers to ask questions to if you're stuck. And I withdrew from USCO after the competition during my junior year, as the next competition season wouldn't happen until after I've already submitted my college apps.
I see. Yeah, Jerry, seems your video is off. Yeah, still I want to can see you have several years experience here. Then yeah, when you kind of a busy time, it's a choice. Yeah. Okay. Let's have Albert. What's your kind of experience with XCamp?
Yeah, I think I joined XCamp in like the second half of 8th grade. So I'd always been really interested in programming from kind of elementary school. And I wanted, again, the like formal structure and to learn a little bit more because back then I barely knew about like loops and lists. And I didn't know much about theoretical computer science. So I joined XCamp and learned a lot about algorithms and stuff. And then also, went with everyone and got to gold. But after that, I felt like because when you're training for the highest levels of competition, it really takes a lot of time and a lot of practicing like specific competition techniques and stuff. And so I found my interest in research as well. And I actually participated in XCamp's like internship program, the first pilot of that. And I enjoyed that a lot more than the contest training. And so I decided to kind of pursue research from there.
Okay, yeah, that's good to know. Yeah, Albert just mentioned that 2 years ago, we had our first research program with Professor Lin in Rice School. I think that experience inspire your kind of research desire, right? Okay.
Yeah, it definitely did. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, this came to my second question. It's kind of your most important extracurricular activities, especially for your university application. So I like maybe have your more details about maybe Albert, your research, and Kayla, your robotics, and Jerry's internship. Okay, let's start from Kayla first. Yeah.
So my most important extracurricular activity for college applications was robotics. And I joined my school's robotics team my sophomore year of high school because that was actually when my interest in computer science started. Like I started developing like a bigger interest. And I thought that it was a really great way for me to work with a team as well and also engage with my school's community more. So I started robotics from there. And since then, I spent a lot of time being a part of the team. It's been a huge commitment of mine, a huge part of my high school career. And in my senior year of high school, I was fortunate enough to become my school's programming lead. And we had a really successful season this year, and we were able to go to the FRC, like first robotics competition, like the world's competition, which is hosted in Houston, Texas. And aside from robotics, I was also the captain of my school Science Olympiad team for 2 years because I also do really enjoy science aside from computer science.
Okay, nice. Do you have any sports activities?
Yes, I played varsity tennis in high school.
Okay, nice. That's great to know. Okay, I think you have this kind of very abundant activities besides robotics too. Glad to know. Thank you. Jerry, what's your most important activity?
Probably my most important extracurricular
Jerry,
activity.
is your it seems your camera is off.
Really, it looks on to me. I don't know if
Okay, maybe some
I'm not sure.
tech issue. Okay, that's okay. Yeah.
Okay, but my most important extracurricular activity was an internship with a local software company that designs equipment for electrical utilities companies, such as Oklahoma Gas and Electric, American Electric Power, stuff like that. It's called Tarigma, and it's headquartered very close to my house. I started working at the company the summer between my sophomore and junior years, and I still work there to this day. I work mostly during the summer. During the summer, I work full time, like 40 hours a week, and during the school year, I try to put in like 5 to 10 hours a week whenever I can. At my internship, I did mostly back-end development and C and C++, where I write code to monitor the health of electrical substations and to alert electrical engineers if a fault occurs and a power outage happens. As for XCamp, I can credit XCamp a lot for helping me to land an internship and helping me to be successful in the internship. Because when I interviewed for it, I think I got a coding interview because the interviewer was very impressed with my C++ knowledge, which was something that I learned from XCamp. And during the coding interview, I had to learn a lot of stuff. I had to use a lot of stuff that I learned in XCamp, especially concepts like trees and data structures like maps. And then beyond my internship, I was also the captain of my school's cross-country team. I had a varsity letter every year, all 4 years, and I was a counselor for a local youth running club. And I was also, like, academically, I was a National Merit Scholar. I had a 35 ACT, and my GPA was top 5% in my class.
Wow, that's great. Glad to know all these achievements. Thank you, Jerry. Albert, how about you?
Yeah, I think my application was primarily computer science kind of academic research. So I had done an independent project in natural language processing. And then I had the internship, like research internship with XCamp. And that actually landed me another internship with CalTech, working on like a paper that's currently under review at Nature Biomedical. And so I think that that second internship was really the most helpful piece, but I definitely would not have been able to get it from without like the XCamp internship program, because that kind of got me in the door and gave me some credentials with research, but also from just like learning about computer science. I think that XCamp really does a good job of educating you for everything that you need to get like a job and just be like a real software engineer. And like, I've always thought to myself, like, if I don't get into a college that I want to go to, then I can always just like go literally get a job and probably like pass a Google coding interview. And I think that that gave me a lot of confidence. That was really helpful for taking on computer science projects and like talking to other people later on. So I think just the like quality and difficulty of what XCamp can do with competitive programming is really stands out from like other coding camps. And then the other thing is the team there, like I met a few friends that I had, and we kind of inspired each other to do more, and that was also really helpful for like me trying to actually go into research and stuff. For other extracurriculars, I did some ocean science, like climate stuff, and had like a minor award for that. And then I also did robotics, some mountain biking, and like a club about study skills and stuff. Yeah, and my SAT was 1590, and I don't think I had like 2 or 3 APs.
Okay, great. Yeah, glad to know you have so many activities too. Yeah, for the robotics, I'm also curious, what kind of time effort did you put for the robotics?
Yeah, so I definitely felt the pressure between like competitive programming and robotics, because those are two like really large time commitments. So actually I did a lot more and like competitive programming in 9th and 10th grade, and then a lot more robotics in 11th and 12th grade. So I think that like honestly, like counselors just want to see that you're doing like stuff that you're interested in. And so our robotics team didn't like go very far, much not as far as Kayla's team. But I did I think I might have written an essay about like the camaraderie or something about that on the team. And so just having the time commitment there and then doing stuff that you're interested in and can write about, I think is really helpful, even if it doesn't have awards.
Nice. That's glad to know. Yeah, thank you all for your sharing your experience, your activities. The third question is, I think some of you already mentioned about the benefits from studying at XCamp. So maybe have do a kind of a summarize, or maybe give like more points about the benefits. Yeah, let's start from Kayla again.
Yeah, so I'm really thankful for all the opportunities that XCamp has provided, and definitely came with many benefits. I think the fact that XCamp does a lot to help with like competitive programming was really helpful for me, especially in the other coding like endeavors that I took on, because like through like training for competitive coding, you like I was talking about earlier, you really become like good at trying to solve like difficult problems that might seem intimidating or difficult in beginning, but like once you break it down or once you think of creative solutions, which X Camp really trains you to do that, then these problems don't become as like overwhelming. And that's definitely something I had to do a lot in robotics, because the programming robotics, a lot of the times you run into circumstances where it might seem intimidating at first, but you have to like break down the coding or programming you have to do. So, and like also like just use problem solving or logical thinking skills to get your way around different issues. So I definitely credit XCamp for helping me for doing that. And also there are just so many opportunities that XCamp provides that you don't necessarily find elsewhere. The TAs and the teachers, from my experiences, really want you to do your best, and they really want you to become a better programmer. And through office hours or even just messaging on Discord, you can always go to them for help whenever you're struggling. And I think that was just really beneficial and something that's really unique to XCamp as well.
Okay, yeah, that's good to know. Yeah, thank you. Definitely, we will keep these kind of services to our students. Maybe just one curious question. I assume because you're the lead on the software programming in your robotics team, so could I assume the others, like your peers, your teammates, they don't have enough coding experience? That's the reason kind of you be the lead. Is that right?
Yeah, so yeah, the lead is given to someone who has the most experience, but yeah, it's definitely a team effort, and we all like just have to work together to like solve the tasks that we're given. But the program, there's like one programming lead for each year.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, you have this kind of leadership too. Yeah. Okay, that's good to know. Thanks for sharing. Jerry, how about you? Yeah, give a summary about the benefit you get from XCamp. Especially, I also want to learn, as a high school student, when you, as an intern, take an internship in a company, how did you feel? You are so young, all these kind of full-time employees. There might be like a college intern too. Would you please share kind of more what you learned from XCamp helped you there?
Of course. For me, I thought that the biggest benefit of being in XCamp was the structure provided to aspiring CS students. For me, I always found it like really difficult to stay motivated and learn by myself when I was trying to learn computer science by myself. So like the structure of XCamp with their teachers and TAs and other students helped me a lot. At XCamp, you have other students to work with, and if you have any questions, there are a lot of teachers and TAs to ask them to. I'm also the kind of person that finds it a lot easier to learn from a human teacher than from like reading documentation or from reading textbooks. So XCamp helped me learn a lot. Like my dad's a software engineer, and he had tried to teach me coding before, but it never really took off because it was just really difficult to learn when you're all by yourself. And because I live in Central Ohio, there wasn't really anyone else in my school or anyone else in my area that I could go to who was also interested in doing UCLA competitions or taking their programming skills to the next level. So XCamp was really the only place for me to find a community to help me learn and like just learn in a community, which I think made me a much better programmer. As for how XCamp helped me at my job, I will say that um, the material what I did at my job was quite a bit different than what I did at XCamp, just because at my job I was working with a much more niche application, but XCamp provided me with the theoretical understandings and spatial reasoning and logical problem solving skills that prepared me for my job and let me learn everything very quickly, even when there was people much more advanced and much more experienced with me than me.
Okay, yeah, that's good to know, Jerry. Thanks for sharing, especially experience with your parents. Also, that's also my next question too. Maybe discuss more how parents might help or might not help the coding part. Okay, let's go to Albert.
Yeah, I think Jerry's point, I really agree with Jerry's point about the learning community. Just having like a group of students who are really excited and like talented and having a specific space to study programming was really helpful, especially when the classes are smaller and you're like a bunch of students like struggling in like on one problem. It's like going through a common struggle really helps you bond, and also you're able to like push each other forwards and stuff. And I think everyone is able to go further than if they were just alone. I also attended the first Hangzhou like summer camp where XCamp had some students go to Hangzhou. This was like a few years ago, and I think it got interrupted by the pandemic. But that camp was really helpful because we were really just living and breathing all of the programming stuff, and also just like spending a lot of time with each other and like always thinking about problems, talking about problems, kind of making up problems as we were like walking home from the camp and stuff. That was, I feel like, a really like a trial by fire boot camp where I really improved my programming ability, and that gave me a lot of confidence going forwards in like computer science in general.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I think the group study was kind of a major kind of program in XCamp, especially before the pandemic. The students studied together. We did talk to each other. They solved problem together. Also, Albert mentioned our Hangzhou summer camp. It also was a tradition. The students went to Hangzhou. They kind of, as you said, breathe together. They live together and study together in the programming environment. That helps too. We will plan to continue the Hangzhou camp from next year because the pandemic is kind of gone, but this year is too short of time for us to prepare for that. Okay, that's glad to know the XCamp help all of you guys. Let's move to the next topic. It's mostly about the family environment, as Jerry just mentioned. His dad tried to teach him. Me too. When my son he was in 4th, 5th grade, I tried to teach him by myself. It turned out it's pretty challenging because I could not have a very systematic curriculum. Sometimes the topic may be too hard. Sometimes the topic may be too easy. That's the reason I co-founded XCamp with my co-founder Yuan to teach the kids like Alex. Now I just want to learn your experience in your parents' background, how they help you, and hopefully this can provide some insight to our other students and parents too. Yes, Kayla, how about let's start from you first. Yeah.
Yeah, so both my parents also have a CS background, and they both work in the tech industry. And kind of like Jerry, my parents did expose me to computer science and also like math when I was younger, especially in the beginning. I remember there were times where my dad was trying to teach me coding, but kind of like what Albert and Jerry were saying, it was like, I think XCamp was like the fact that we were able to offer like a platform where it was like a more like formal platform or opportunity to learn coding with other people. That was a lot more motivating, because doing like one-on-one coding with my dad wasn't necessarily like the easiest thing to do, because it's hard to find that motivation. So my parents definitely gave me exposure to the field, and since then I've just developed a passion for computer science, and I just wanted to dive deeper into it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, glad to know your parents kind of help you open the door to computer science. Yeah, thank you. Jerry, yeah, you have comments, your experience, at home. Your dad kind of also opened the door to you too. Do you have any add-ons here, Jerry?
Yeah, for those who haven't heard, my dad is a software engineer at JP Morgan Chase, and he's also a teacher here at XCamp. Like I said, my dad tried to teach me coding before we found out about XCamp, and it did not go very well. But even when I was in XCamp, my dad still was still able to help me with problems that I was stuck on, or problems that I couldn't, I had trouble figuring out. And for anyone that's interested in joining XCamp, your parents are of course welcome to help you on any problems you may be stuck on if they have CS experience. But of course, you should just make sure that you're the one you have to try the problems first, because you're the one that actually needs to learn computer science. So just make sure you try all the problems first before you ask your parents.
Okay, great. Yes, we are happy to have Nick, Jerry's dad, also our ex-camp teacher. He's here. I like to him to join us and share his experience as a parent, also as a teacher, also from the past several years, Nick teaching the students. He may have like more to share with us how to help our students, especially as a parent, and coordinate some challenges in the coding learning too. Nick, it's good for you to talk.
Yeah. Hi, this is Nick Wang, and as Cherry just mentioned that I am a teacher in the XCamp, and then I am also a parent. So Jerry is my son, and so Jerry just talk about that the past that he learned the computer science, right? So when Jerry was young, then I know that he's pretty interested in computer science learning. So that because I thought to myself, because that I am an IT guy, then I work in this field. Okay, so I think that I should have the enough knowledge, and I teach my son myself, right? So that I think that it will be convenient. So I know this, and then I can teach. I know how to teach, right? So that everything seems that should be smooth. Okay, so that I go to online and then get some materials so that I can start to teach. When Jerry was in middle school, right? So, but then it doesn't turn out very well. So honestly, that's because that every summer, then when I try to teach, and then at the first couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, it's pretty good. It seems to be pretty good, so that I can teach Jerry and then ask him to finish some homework. Then after I come back, and then after a few weeks, and then both of us feel that it's really hard. I don't know why, but then after a few weeks, then when I try to teach more of the material, then I feel that it's hard for Jerry to accept it, and then also to really turn this into his knowledge. And so this pattern repeated a couple times in the middle school, every year, in the summer. So that's why that I think that there's something wrong here, that I cannot keep this pattern and then to try to teach. And in the high school, and the beginning of the high school, that's one of the opportunities coming. So people think that it's too bad because that the COVID is coming. COVID started. Then at that time that the school is always already closed, and then Jerry that every day that he has like couple hours for the online studying, and then after that, since that he has nothing to do, so I think that I want to try to find something for him, right? So now that I know that there's an XCamp, and then I will think that okay, I will let Jerry to join the XCamp and then try to start from there, okay? And it turned out that it's a really good decision. And started from there, and I found that Jerry have they increased a lot of the passion on the studying on the CS. And now that after that Jerry kept working on and then learning in the XCamp, I found that he's built up his confidence, and then also built up the knowledge and the skill. And later that after I think that at the beginning I can still try to check his progress and check his homework, but after he got a lot of interest on this topic on the learning, and then I found that basically I don't have to care about so much of the check the progress, because I see that he really made the solid progress. So that that's making me very interested in this, to try to find out why that he have this change. And then so I think that after I summarize this, right, a couple of things, because that he's in a class. So in the class that you have the students from everywhere, and then the peer pressure is a very important factor here. So that if you have the classmate, and then you have to keep working with other people, then you have the very good motivation to keep learning. So this is, I think that will be the number one factor that to help Jerry to make progress. And the second one is that I see that in the XCamp, that they have a very good structure. I think that all the speakers already mentioned this, all the very good structure, and then they have a lot of the resource, helpful resource. I think that most important part is that the teacher will assign the homework every week, and then student have to finish the homework every week. And if the student has a difficulty, then they can go to the TA office hour and then communicate with the TA, ask the help from there. Okay. And this is important. And also that the online judger, because that you can submit your solution to the homework, maybe unlimited time or maybe some limited time. But then this will also, you can also get the like a test case. If your code doesn't pass the online judger, then you will give it feedback and then point out that for this test case, your code cannot pass. So this is a lot of this resource help a student like Jerry to make progress and then keep a stick on the interest on learning the computer science. Okay, so that if compared to today's XCamp, I think that now that we have the XCamp will already provide a more useful resource than before. Okay, so that I think that this is, for me, that is a very good decision that I sent Jerry to the XCamp to start the real computer science learning class here. And so for me, for myself, that I learned that okay, XCamp is a good online learning school. So that later, starting from there, and then I joined the XCamp as the TA. Of course, at the beginning, there was TA over Jerry's class. Then later, I have more interest, and then I decided to be a teacher for XCamp. So from my experience, I think that XCamp is really a place that to help the students, the young students, to build up their interest and then learn that studying their CS learning path in here.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Nick. I can see this also other kind of a parent experience too. You know, we have our teachers. I think almost half our teachers are parents. It's a kind of mostly like Nick here. You know, as a parent, we try to help our students learn coding. Is pretty challenging. Then we define XCamp, they still want to make contributions, start to be a TA first. Then later on, they find, okay, to be a teacher, also very rewarding, right? Also help you to have, like your kids, like you have Jerry again after you be a teacher, right?
Yep, exactly the same path for me. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Also, you know, Jerry can start from, you know, high school. Nick, do you see, you know, learn the coding at XCamp also help the students on like AP test? This kind of now kind of like standard test for the high school student too. Do you think it's helpful for the AP test?
For me, that first that I have some students, then they in my class, then later they have the AP class. For all the response or the feedback I have is that if you have the experience in the XCamp, even at the low level class in the XCamp, then to learn the AP class in high school, well, I would say that is pretty easy for them to do that. But I don't know that Jerry, do you want to have any comment to this?
Yeah, this is something I can certainly speak a lot on. I took AP Computer Science A my sophomore year after I had done a couple of months of XCamp. And AP Computer Science A is the highest AP Computer Science class offered by the College Board. And after just a couple of months of XCamp, I found it like ridiculously easy. I finished with the high A, like a 90, 97, 98 in a class, and I spent most of the class just using it as a study hall for my other classes. Like the labs that was taking my classmates 2-3 weeks to do, I could finish in 1 to 2 class periods. So I'd say XCamp definitely goes well above and beyond anything you could learn in school, assuming you don't have like a crazy, you just wouldn't do anything crazy beyond AP Computer Science A. As for math classes other than computer science, I'd say XCamp helps a lot with like problem solving skills and there's like spatial reasoning skills, I think helped a lot. I think XCamp really helped me with like my ability to visualize abstract problems in my head, which is important for coding. And I think it helped me a lot when I took AP Computer Science, AP Physics C, where I got a 5 on the test.
Wow, wow, nice, Jerry. That's first time I heard, XCamp made your AP class so easy for you. Okay, glad to know. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Nick, for your sharing. We have Albert. How about you? Your parents' role?
Yeah, my parents don't really have a CS background, so they weren't really able to help me. And I found that actually, just like practicing a lot of programming meant that I was actually able to help my mom with some of the like computer science work that she did have to do for her job. So it ended up actually being the other way around. And I think that XCamp really like it's more fun to talk about what Jerry and Nick were talking about. So like I think XCamp really does go above and beyond. So I my school doesn't offer AP classes, but I took the AP CSA test as well, and it was like super easy, and I ended up sleeping through like half of it because I had finished earlier. And most of that had come down to like being able to write pretty quickly. I think that XCamp teaches really good problem solving, just like practices in addition to skills. So like learning to write down what your code is and like figure out like what you're going to do but on paper before you write it down in the computer is actually like, it seems simple, but like getting that practice and like problem solving with that technique has been really helpful for me. And also like in the more advanced classes, like learning to prove the correctness of different algorithms helped with proof skills, which is much more like what college math is like. So in college, math is more about, proving things and less about just like arithmetic or solving problems or learning techniques. And my high school, I'm lucky enough to go somewhere where there's a lot of proof-based math classes. So I've taken 3 years of calculus, for example, and also linear algebra and graph theory and a bunch of math classes like that. And all of those classes were made easier by just like knowing how to write proofs and thinking in this very like rigorous logical manner that I think I first learned from XCamp. So it really does feel like what I was saying earlier, which is like once you like go through XCamp, it's like it's tough, but you will have the confidence that you can probably get a job or like kind of tackle anything. And I think that that's really valuable.
Yeah, that's glad to know. XCamp experience made your other journeys much easier. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Let's move to my last question. It's kind of what advices do you have for the middle school, high school students if they are considering CS as the college major? Yeah, let's go with Kayla first.
Of course. So I would say that like because computer science is a really large and versatile field, I would say like find something that you think is really interesting and just putting a lot of time and effort into that specific field, whether that is like competition coding or in my case robotics or doing an internship, because and like find something that kind of goes with your other interests. So like I was saying, like I do a lot of robotics, so I just like had a lot of my coding revolve around doing things that catered towards that. So I think that was just like a way for me to be able to like just really dive deeper into a specific field and just show my interest and passion for computer science to colleges. And even just like at school, just like take the most like advanced STEM classes that your school has to offer, whether that is CS or even in science and math, just like take advantage of all your school's opportunities. Like my school, I go to a public school, but I just like made sure to take like as many of the AP classes as possible and also taking APCS CSA and also doing calculus and all of those things. And beyond that, my last piece of like major advice would be that like many people I think might initially think that they do not have an interest in computer science. Personally, for me, it actually took like up until like high school for me to actually be like, oh, computer science is interesting and I want to do it. But I honestly think that interest develops over time. Like once you dive into a field and kind of really get to know what it is about, you may be able to find it interesting. And that was the case for me with computer science, especially through XCamp. Once I did XCamp and did some other things, I was able to find coding a very interesting subject. I was able to find computer science a very interesting subject and got really interested in coding. So I would just say spend more time in computer science if you're not as interested in it, to see if you have a true passion for it.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Kayla. Thanks for your suggestion. Just spend some time, maybe more time to try, yeah, computer science. You might like it. Also glad the camp inspired your interest in computer science. Jerry, any advices from you?
I guess I thought of two pieces of advice I could give. The first one I would say is that you shouldn't be afraid to ask for help. As I mentioned, learning communities help with learning and digesting information a lot, especially in a field like computer science. And for any student that might be considering computer science as a career, CS as a career isn't something that you should try to do alone. So I would advise anybody who's interested in computer science to not be afraid to work with their peers and ask questions, because not only will you form valuable relationships that you can treasure for the rest of your life, it'll also make the learning much more interesting and much more effective. I guess my second piece of advice is that while coding skills, STEM skills are very important for CS majors and education rich in STEM topics is very helpful, I would advise students to not completely neglect the humanities, especially English. Having work experience, I can confidently tell you that my rhetoric skills have been just as important in my career as in my short career so far as my coding skills, especially during meetings or in situations such as, or especially when discussing pay raises. I think my English skills have helped a lot. So I'd advise students to not completely forgo the humanities.
Great. Yeah, thank you, Jerry. I think your suggestion about the humanities, definitely that's another, skills or learnings, especially for the STEM student to pay attention to. This is very important, especially when you start in the working environment. Yeah, thanks for sharing, Jerry. How about you, Albert? Any advices?
I think everything that's been said so far is like really like those are some of the top pieces of advice that I'd give. I want to emphasize like the learning community, and I think that and also Kayla was saying find something passionate, because you are for like current students, like you are the younger and faster generation right now, and if you can put in the time and find the passion to like figure out what you want and really like spend a lot of time at it, then that will set you up to go farther in life later, even if like you aren't the best of all of your peers or something like that. Just finding some way to like spend a lot of time and put a lot of heart into something, I think is really important. And that might be, finding what you're passionate about, or finding a community of peers that you really are able to work well with or go far with. And also, asking for help and making sure that you don't get stuck or get yourself down or depressed or anything like that. Like ask for help and keep just like doing something that is exciting for you, because one thing that I heard actually is like for top jobs, like sometimes like at when you're a software engineer at a startup, like that's an 80 to 100 hour a week job. And top universities can also be really tough, and that is also like an 80 to 100 hour a week job. And so sometimes colleges or high school is like an 80 to 100 hour a week job. So if you have like 40 or 50 hours of classes, like and homework and stuff, like you actually still have a lot of time that you can put into something, but you'll only be able to do that if you're really passionate and excited about it and you have the support system to go far. And so that's what you need to find.
Nice, nice. Yeah, thank you, Albert, too. I think I totally agree. Passion is the most important thing to be successful, especially when you grow into the high school. It's the time for yourself find your passion. Yeah, thank you all for your sharing. Um, I think that's all my questions to ask you. So in summary, I like to say our roads need to roam. What I mean is, everyone will have our way to live. Everyone can lead to our own success, our own life. Sometimes might not always to be happily life, but I think the experience for us to grow, especially at X Camp, we teaching kids coding, not only for the competitive. Here, I just use this three students experience to show the parents and students here, every students can make big achievement based on some learning from X Camp. Okay, I think so. This is very special age. I think some of you have hint. It's called the AI age, the era of AI. Especially after ChatGPT, it seems ChatGPT can do a lot of things, so even some codings. Some students might have the question, do we still need to learn computer science? I think, especially personally, my belief, computer science will be more important than ever, because this kind of new AI era is inspired, by all this coding, all this machine learning stuff. This will change kind of every industry. This can be have a big boom to apply AI in every industry. To apply this, we need coding. Coding is the way for the AI. Also, coding will be the A, to help AI grow at every industry. It will create maybe more jobs, not the current like low level coding now, but definitely it's like a system design, use different use cases. So I believe you guys will have a job, no doubt. I hope this experience can help other students to think more, to inspire more students to learn computer science. Okay, great. Here's the advertisement for the parents and students here. If you contact our students counselor, you will have a free placement test for today. Also, if you can find some current student to refer you, you can have some discount called the student referral discount for the new students. Okay, okay. I'm so glad we chat a lot, and now we have some time for the questions here. Let me see. I can see there are some questions in the chat already. Let me answer the questions, some of them there, and questions can open your mic and answer questions to our students and parents here too. Let me randomly pick some questions here. Is there any plan for the camp to offer AI classes? The answer is not yet now, because for us we have limited resources. Now we are focused on the coding program. Previously, we put some effort on the competitive coding. Now we are putting more effort also on the general coding class too. But we have a partner. It's called the Silicon Valley AI Academy, SVAI. They have the class for the Introduction AI 101, also 102, also some research internship program too. Yeah, if you are interested, we can refer you to our partners, Silicon Valley AI. I saw another question before, how long will be our summer camp in Hangzhou? Before the pandemic, we have 1 month. Mostly is from mostly kind of July time. We will plan for the next year too. It will be usually 1 month, kind of immersive learning on programming. Okay. I think there are questions. Let me see the other questions here. Okay, there's a question from Grace. What do you plan on doing in college to maximize your time and experience? That's kind of a college planning. Okay, I think that's a good question. It will be a kind of some inspiring point for us to think about now. Maybe also Kayla, how about you? Any?
So kind of going back, I remember Jerry was touching on this, like asking for help, as I think it was Jerry. I feel like that might be something that's definitely needed in college, because a lot of times you might find yourself like stuck on a problem for like hours on end. And like that is, well, you're supposed to like, try your best when it comes to like any coding or math problems that you're working on. But there comes a point where like asking for help, going to the TA or using your resources will also maximize the amount your learning experience. So yeah, don't be afraid to ask for help or utilize resources so you can do things as efficiently as possible.
Nice. Jerry, how about you?
I would agree a lot with what Kayla said. I think it's very important to find your own group, not just for questions and studying, but also just to have that support, both in terms of like friendships, but in terms of like people to talk to and to get motivation to keep, I guess, pushing yourself. So in college, I've joined my college's honors college, and I am also going to be running for the school cross-country and track teams. So those are my current college plans.
Nice, thank you. Albert?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like trying to spend as much time on campus as possible and also learn about things that I kind of to like broaden my horizons, because I think college is still like an important time for like finding passion and expanding your skill set. So I'll probably be, in addition to taking like computer science and neuroscience, probably some philosophy, economics and stuff. And then I'll also probably be doing a lot of research because I want to kind of get a head start on that.
Nice. Okay, I'm checking the chat questions. Yeah, there's one ask Kayla and Jerry. I'm not sure. For the peer circles, how did you find your peer circles in this journey? AP class, robotic team class. Yeah, I also believe the circle is so important. Yeah, I'd like you if you can share more, like Kayla. So how could you build your circle, find your circle in these activities?
So if I'm going to be honest, well, in the middle of Ohio, because I'm from like Central Ohio, like Jerry, programming or computer science is not as popular amongst high schoolers as it is in other regions of the United States. Like, for example, I was actually the only girl in my APCSA class when I took it. So it can be difficult to find a community. For me, I was fortunate enough to find a community within the robotics team. And for me, it wasn't just like in programming. I had good friends on a programming team, but I also had like really good friends that did other things in robotics as well. Like they did engineering or design. Even though they didn't do just like programming or we were doing different things, I thought like we all like still had to work through the problem solving aspect that robotics requires. And I thought that working with them definitely did make programming more exciting and more exciting and insightful.
Okay, yeah, that's good to know. Also, I totally agree. For girls, for some places, learning CS is challenging. Alex, this also happened to my daughter. Now she's in college junior year now. Also, she studies computer science. But when she was in college, she didn't take much CS classes because kind of she found out most like boys take class on the CS. Now I think also I feel the burden, to provide more opportunities for girls to learn coding. Okay, thank you, Kayla. I saw that Jerry already answered this question. I may skip this to to him. I saw Cassie had two very good questions I like to answer. The first one, which class XCamp should take in XCamp to pass APCS? In XCamp, we have a APCS series of class. We have APCS 1, APCS 2. This will prepare the knowledge of APCSA exam. Also, we have APCS booster. This is mock test focused, so to help our students to prepare to get a total score of 5. Yeah, if you want to learn more, Cassie, you may add our student consultant here. Yeah, thank you, Cassie, for your first question. The second question is Cassie asked, which grade should one start taking CS classes if they want to try UCLA? From our experience, we planned for the next event. The topic is when to start to learn computer science or to learn coding. The answer is the best time is from the 5th or 6th grade, because in 1 year you can pass bronze, another year silver, third year gold. So when you go to the high school, you're mostly already at the good level if you put enough time, effort on that. So because middle school is pretty or less heavy than high school, the student have more time to prepare for that. But never too late to learn computer science. The best time is 5th or 6th grade. The second best time is now. You mean like for Jerry learn from high school, or I think Kayla learn even later. To learn these kind of skills will help your kids not only on the coding but also on other skills too. Yeah, that's kind of the purpose, for this meeting. We can learn research, do robotics, or do interns after this computer science background. Yes. Yeah. Another question I see is Rory Joe asked, do we have on-site summer camp this year? The answer is yes. So every year we have our summer camp and winter camp. They are on-site. This year the summer camp is from July 17th to July 28th. It's 2-week summer camp. We have introduction summer camp with students with few or even little programming background. Also, we have UCLA Bronze, UCLA Silver, and UCLA Gold summer camp. These are on-site. It's in Santa Clara. If you know this in Mitty High School campus. Okay. Let's see the other questions. Daniel asked, how did you guys find your internships? I saw Jerry answered. Also, I think Albert answered too. For Albert internship, the first one, XCamp, we help him to find the professor in Rice. Then later on, Albert find the internship, I think from school with CalTech. Yeah. Cassie have another, I think that's a very good question. What's the minimum CS skill course required if the high school students want to have an internship? From our experience, also I think from the experience from this several students here, like Jerry, she passed the silver into the good level. I like seeing this level, it's kind of can pass even Google interview. So I think 2 to 3 years Jerry learned with XCamp is already experienced enough to pass any internship interviews with the tech companies. For the Albert, also he's in the good level, good division too. So for that background, it's very good to do the research. Also, I like to say the passion is very important. Albert had great passion on the research. I think for the internship with Rice, Albert, I thought you read about 50 papers, right? 50 public papers. This kind of like a PhD level readings. Is that true, Albert?
Yeah, across different research experiences. And I think that that's how much you need to just get to know a field and be able to think critically about it.
Yes, yes. Another thing I just want to comment, after students, they learn this coding, they have this kind of confidence, they have these problem solving skills. Like Albert just mentioned, that he can read these papers, just overcome this kind of even some fear, to solve these very hard readings. Yeah. Let me continue the questions here. Cassie, another question about the CS language to take for the UCLA. For UCLA's branch, it's okay. You can use any like a Python, Java, or C++. But if you want to take higher ones, C++ is preferred. I think Albert answered this question. Yeah. Okay, let me see the other questions. Yeah, Cassie have another question about the requirement for the Hangzhou summer camp. Yeah, for the next year, we are thinking mostly for the students who are in the platinum and the gold divisions. We might have a limited seat in Hangzhou to host the students. That's kind of current first thinking. But if we see a lot of requirements, demands, even for the lower class, we may consider to organize that too. Yeah. I think Cassie have another question. Is Java for the APCS? Yes, the answer is yes. Let me see. I got messed up. Where are my questions here? Okay, I think we answered most of the questions. The last, I saw one for Albert. Yeah, Albert, Carol has a question. Did you see that? She asked, as a high school student, how were you able to discover CS papers?
Yeah, I think that reading papers is a skill, and it doesn't really matter, like if you're in high school or college or whatever. It's just a skill that you have to practice. And so I kind of learned from just like going online and researching how do you read a paper. And there's like techniques, and you just have to practice it. And I think that in general, it actually I forgot to mention this about XCamp too, but like there's like I think in order to learn anything, you just have to do it and then have some mechanism for getting feedback. And so a lot of the time, like reflecting and so for example, reading a paper and writing down like before you start to read what your goal is for this study session, and then after you finish, like what you achieved, like whether you achieved the goal, and like what your next steps are, and having a very explicit way of reflecting like that, for example, writing it down in a notebook, is really helpful for learning any skill, be it reading papers or like even learning how to do like DP, for example, which is a competitive programming technique. And I like the classes that I took at XCamp actually required that. And I thought that was also really helpful.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Good to know. Another question about the Hangzhou class. Yeah, most class is taught in Chinese. That's kind of major to explain the ideas. But we have teachers, they speak English too. Also, they answer student questions. Like the TAs, they are in English too. Yeah, Albert, you had this kind of experience. How do you give a quick sharing your experience in Hangzhou? It's about 4 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a while ago, but I think that the most important part was kind of my English classmates who had come with me, because we spent so much time together working on problems and studying. it really felt like we were a team, and it made me a lot more comfortable, asking for help and working together. And also it was a lot harder to get stuck because you have all of these different people with different ideas. And just the experience, the environment of being immersed in this concept, like these concepts and problems all the time, I think is the most important thing. Yeah.
Yes. I think I asked a couple students, they said like 1 month in Hangzhou is kind of like a 1 year study in the US. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, for sure, because it's like learning a language. It really literally is learning a language, because a different language comes with a different way of thinking. So like the immersion, I think is really important. And I'm also happy to answer more specific questions. Yeah.
I see. Okay, we are 30 minutes over the time. I saw Casey had another question, maybe mostly on college application. Yes, it's very competitive. Kind of recommend apply other major than transfer? That's a very, very good question. It's even hard to answer now because for some colleges, they don't allow to transfer. So that's kind of a challenge. Sometimes even they have the opportunity to transfer. So many students want to transfer. It's another challenge. So kind of one way to prepare is like maybe so for the student to learn more coding, computer science related, to have a more background, so be more competitive. I think that to learn coding, to learn research, to robotics, this not, I think for this student experience, not only for college application, this kind of their passion, right? I think this kind of you build your career, you build your interest, that's lead you to this this state. I like to say. Okay, great. I think we have a good discussion today. Thank you all, Kayla, Jerry, and Everett for sharing. I hope your experience, will provide some insights for the students and the parents here. Also, parents and students, if you have any questions, feel free to contact our student counselors here in XCamp. Okay, thanks again for all of you. Have a very good night. Thank you.